Hi, hello. My name is Yang and I'm based in Japan. I teach English in elementary school and junior high school. And today I would like us to digest or talk about a topic. What are the three sounds of ED? What are the three sounds of ED? And this is a phonics, it's a topic under phonics. This is a phonic topic. So let's look at it. The first thing that we want to say is that when we talk about ED, we are talking about the past simple tense. The past simple tense. What is a past simple tense? The past simple tense has two types, the regular and the irregular. But when we talk about ED, we are particularly talking about the regular past simple past tense. The regular simple past tense. That means an infinitive verb, when you add ed to that verb, it changes into the past. It's called the simple regular past tense or the regular simple past tense. So this is what we're going to look at today. So we are saying that what are the three sounds of ed? There are three ways to pronounce the ed, ending of regular verbs in the simple past tense. So it is only in the simple past tense that we can pronounce the ed in three distinct ways. So the ed, as I'm going to show you right now, we can pronounce the ed in these three ways. Number one, we can pronounce it as id, that is id, id. Number two, we can pronounce it as t, which is in a word, the t is not a separate syllable. It is included. It is merged with the already words that we're going to look at. So it's not going to be a separate syllable. I'll explain that later when we look at the examples. And the last way that we can pronounce the td is d, that is d. Okay, so first let's look at the pronunciation. The pronunciation of ed depends on the sound at the end of the infinitive of the main verb and whether it is voiced or not. So the pronunciation of ed, if it is going to be it or t or d, it will depend on the ending of the word, especially the consonant ending, if it is voice or not voice. So let's quickly look at the three ways. So we said we have the it. We can pronounce it as it, and t. Okay, now let's go to the first one. The first one we're going to look at is when we pronounce it as it. When do we pronounce it as it? Very good. So the infinitives that end in sounds like t or d. Anytime an infinitive ends in a sound like t or d, basically, generally, normally, usually, we pronounce it as, let me give you the pronunciation. We pronounce it as it. We pronounce it as it. So whenever the infinitive ends with a consonant t and d, remember t and d, it is pronounced it. Let's look at some examples. So we have example like number one. We have an example like needed. So here, as we said, we pronounce it as it. So it's going to be, let's look at the pronunciation. It's going to be na, e, the, and id. Id. Okay? Id. So it's going to be needed. 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 This is needed. These oranges are needed. 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 Okay. Let's look at other examples. Two more examples. We are looking at the word hated. 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 So we're looking at the word hated. So if we look at the pronunciation, it's going to be something like this. Hated. 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 So it's going to be something like hated. 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 So it is pronounced hated. Let's look at other example. The last example. The last example is dated. 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 And the pronunciation is going to be something like this. The. Let's look at the pronunciation quickly. It's going to be the, a, t, and id. Id. So it's going to be dated. 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 Yesterday I dated someone. Okay. Now we've finished. We said that whenever the simple past tense regular is pronounced as it, it means that the consonant should end with T or D, either T or D. And when that happens, we are going to pronounce it as it. It. We are going to pronounce it as it. And we saw examples. We just saw examples. Dated, hated, needed, dated, hated, needed. Very good. Let's go to the second one. The second one is we are going to talk about the when it is pronounced d as d, when it is pronounced d. When it is pronounced d. When it is pronounced d. Very good. So whenever the consonant in the verb ends in these letters B, G, V, Z, M, N, L, and R. So these are called voiced consonant. That means when we pronounce this one of these letters, when you pronounce them, there is a vibration, there's a shaking in your throat. When that happens, we call the letter voiced consonant. A voiced consonant is a sound letter. When pronounced, it causes vibration in the throat, or the throat shakes. The vocal cord shakes. So we call voiced consonant. For example, when I say but, when it touches your throat, you see that it is moving. When I pronounce you see that your throat is shaking or moving. So we call it voiced consonant. Voiced consonant. So whenever a simple past tense verb ends in a voiced consonant, it is pronounced as d, as D sound. D. Let's look at only two examples. The first example is lived. Lived. So you hear the sound, the last sound, lived. And remember, the D is not a separate syllable. It's meshed together. It's not a separate syllable. Lived. Let's look at the second example. Our second example is going to be the word chilled. 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 So that is it, chilled. You can hear the sound. Chilled, lived, chilled, lived. Let's go to the last one. The last one is when the ending consonant is a voiceless sound. A voiceless sound is a sound when made, it does not cause vibration in the vocal cord or the throat. We call it voiceless sound. So whenever a consonant in a simple past tense ends in a voiceless sound, it's pronounced as T. It's pronounced as T. Let's look at examples of voiceless sound. We have P, PFKS, PFKS. Also have SC. We have SH and CH and TH and GH. So we have P, F, K, S, SH, CH, TH, and GH. So when these end in syllable, it end the simple past tense verb, then it is pronounced as T. It's pronounced as T. That is pronounced as T. Let's look at some examples. So one example that we're going to look at is the word, we want to use the SH, finish. Finish. So if you look at finish, you see that the ending word is SH. My phone is freezing, so let's see if we can. Okay, let's go. So we can have example like finish. Finished. So this is a past tense. This is a simple past tense. And how do you pronounce it? Look at the pronunciation. It's going to be something like finished. So the last sound is T sound. Finished. Let's look at the last one. Our last example is going to be stopped. Here, because of the P is a voiceless sound, so it will be pronounced as T. Stopped. Let's look at the pronunciation. So we have st, o, p, and our T. Stopped. Yesterday, I stopped at the restaurant to eat some food. We'll end here, and I'll see you later. Have a good time. Bye.